I'm Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector News Podcast. And we're on location at the Critical Trends in Mining Finance Conference being put on by the New York section of the SME. And I have joining me today the CEO of Relevant Gold, Rob Bergmann. Welcome, Rob.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you. For my listeners that haven't been familiar with your company, let's familiarize them with telling them a little bit about what you guys are. Give them your elevator pitch.
Sure, yeah. So we're an early stage gold explorer developing projects in Wyoming, USA, with this overarching thesis that we had started to connect the dots in the academic literature that had Wyoming connected to the Abitibi gold belts during the time of mineralization, which was 2.6, 2.7 billion years ago. Later, at about 2.1 billion years, those two geological provinces rifted apart to where they presently reside. So that's kind of where Relevant Gold was born. Since then, we've been systematically developing that thesis across these Archean belts in Wyoming, identifying high-grade district-scale gold assets. To date now, we have 5 district-scale projects across 2 major camps. And we just listed last August in 2022 and had our first ever drilling program at one of our flagship assets, our Golden Buffalo project. Wonderful.
How did the drill results, we've gotten the drill results, right?
Yep.
How did the drill results look like from 2022?
Honestly, they were great. We went in trying to understand, is this truly an orogenic Abitibi-style system, since we're developing this thesis of a connection there? And that means, do these shear zones that we see the gold occurrences at surface extend at depth? Does the gold continue at depth? And are these shear zones fertile? And we were able to check all those boxes. In addition to that, we were able to cut some high-grade gold in one of our drill holes where we intersected 83.8 grams per ton over a meter. And really 54% of our holes, we drilled 26 holes for 3,500 meters, and 54% of those returned gold mineralization specifically in these orogenic-style shear zones.
Okay. This Abitibi theory that you have, what I've always puzzled me is what caused the two areas to be that widely apart across the continent. What's the theory behind that?
Yeah, so really it comes down to major tectonic movement of our geologic provinces and plates. So similar to when you think about the formation of Pangea and then the separation of those major continents, it's a very similar process in this. And there's been a number of academic studies and literature that has actually done the tectonic reconstruction that has brought those two continents back together at that time of 2.6 billion. And that's when all the gold came into both of these systems. So it was that critical timing event, and then later you had that major tectonic rifting that kind of ripped these apart and rotated them to where they presently reside. Okay.
And how is the gold that you're finding in Wyoming similar to that as the gold they find in the Abitibi in Quebec?
Yeah, sure. So everything from the right type of host rocks, right? We've got these kind of Archean greenstone belts. We've got our typical host lithologies. Specifically at our flagship camp, we've got our meta-grey-wacky sequences. And ultimately, it's the same type of rocks, the same age. The mineralization is shear zone hosted in these kind of veins, as well as disseminated fine gold. And the geochemical footprint is very similar to a lot of these larger known camps in the Abitibi. So you've got your common associations of your vector element geochemistry, which also tells us that we're probably in the apex of the system, meaning we're in the top of the system and the opportunity should be below. And the alteration style is very consistent with what is observed in these major deposits in the Abitibi as well.
Okay. So 2022, you finally got up and off the ground. You're now a public company, and we've gotten a drill program under our belt, and the drill program is starting to prove out that the theory has some basis in reality. As we move forward into 2023, what are the plans for Relevant, and how are we going to see that thesis be brought forward?
Yeah, so we've got a number of targets already permitted and ready to test. So we tested our first one at Golden Buffalo. We had some great success right out the gate, so obviously we're going to be looking to follow up there. But also our other flagship asset, the Lewiston asset, we've got a couple targets already permitted with a third area kind of permit pending, should be coming soon. And so really our goal is to continue to systematically develop each target and prove this thesis across the portfolio of assets we have. and combine that with continued regional work so that we're working up a number of new target opportunities for the future. Really, our idea is to create a pipeline of discovery opportunities in Wyoming with Abitibi-like potential.
Wonderful. How many meters the drill program is slated for 23?
So we're hoping to get at least 3,000 meters if we can. We'd love to get more. The reality of these types of systems is they take a lot of drilling. So either way, we're looking to continually drill out targets over the coming months and years. But unfortunately out there this year, we had a little bit of a longer winter than we would have hoped. They had one of their biggest snowfalls ever, so we're still waiting for some of that snow to clear to get our boots on the ground. But we're looking forward to doing that as soon as we can.
I thought it was supposed to be dry in a drought. Where did all the snow come from?
I'll tell you what, I got pictures from the field from last week, and they're still in some of the lowlands out there, 15-foot drifts.
Well, with that kind of luck, maybe California wants you to get a couple of projects going there so they can get some snowfall too.
Yeah, there you go.
So the drilling program, is it fully funded?
We're actually just launched a financing last week, so we're in the middle of raising capital to kind of go after our exploration program for this year.
What's the target raise?
We're targeting $3 million Canadian.
Okay. And if they want to participate in that, they should contact you, or?
Yep, contact myself, contact the company to get more information. This is obviously not a solicitation for investment. Of
course not.
But we're happy to answer any of those questions. If you want to get the private placement information, you just reach out to myself. You can also reach out to ir@relevantgoldcorp.com, and we'd be happy to kind of fill anybody in who's curious.
Wonderful. And if they want to follow the company?
So you can follow us on our social media handles. I'd say LinkedIn's probably our most powerful one. We've got a lot of great updates consistently going out there, as well as the website. We regularly update the website with a lot of new content and information, and it's the easiest way. And then just get on our mailing list. You can get on our mailing list right through the website directly. You can email myself or ir@relevantgoldcorp.com, and we'll make sure to get you added.
Perfect. Look forward to seeing the results from the 23 program and how this company moves forward. The Abitibi has been a great area of production. It'll be interesting to see Wyoming take its seat in that table.
Yeah, we look forward to being the ones to lead the charge on that.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining me, Rob.
Thanks for having me.
The Prospector News Podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.